you look at American cinema, you'll notice one thing. Violence. It was true violence that the narrative first emerged in American film.
I know that they came out of a tradition, though, of outlaws, in a way, which is something that's been very popular in American culture all the way back to the 19th century.
A criminal has a clear goal.
You're looking for me.
The foundation of a good plot, and a strong motivation. The foundation of a good character. So that's the rule. If there's a criminal, you have a story. And then, violence is extremely stylish. For two simple reasons. The first one is action. Violence can be choreographed. The second one is much simpler. Color. Two simple tools, but see what you can do with them. Take The Godfather. Violence there isn't just brutality and blood. It's also a visual language. Violence can become so stylized, it's closer to a ballet than a real-life event. You can slow time down to introduce irony. You can expand the space to enhance the expressiveness of movement. So you may claim, violence is not so beautiful to watch in real life. Well, violence in cinema has never been truly realistic. Especially from the 80s onward, when Hong Kong actions code was imported to Hollywood. In Hong Kong cinema, violence is slapstick and motion, inherently cinematic and choreographic rather than emotionally disturbing. So this is one tendency. Choreographical violence. But there's another one. In many films, crime works like a puzzle game, and violence is the gameplay. The detective chases the criminal, and in the end, audience captures the truth, satisfied that the riddle has been solved, pleased by the rationality of the mechanism. But sometimes cinema has taken a different route. Neither choreography nor puzzle game. Some films use violence in deeply unsettling ways, without showing a single drop of blood, neither using any choreographical staging. These films share something, enough to form a kind of subgenre. I call it the mystical violence genre. In 2001, A Space Odyssey, the clean, refined design suggests calm and order. Everything is perfectly shaped, far from the visual codes of violence. And yet, the film opens with violence, a calm and detached violence. When HAL 9000 is shut down, there's no blood, but the scene is bathed in red light, as if the machine itself were bleeding. There Will Be Blood opens in a similar way. Slowly paced, yet profoundly violent.
No!
Throughout the film, each act of violence marks a new step in the story. At the beginning, the oilman forges his fortune through the violence of technology. He's awakened by violence. By the end of his violent journey, the oilman becomes wiser.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it
And he
up.
affirms himself, de-affirming someone else. It's a path that mirrors 2001. The core message of these films is this: violence is the birth of self-awareness. We are born through violence.
Primordial instincts to kill, without feeling, without passion, without judgment.
Violence can be disturbing when it is displayed as the root of the meaning-making machine of human life. But sometimes, cinema has managed to make violence disturbing by making the opposite.
근데 서울에서도 이런 거 자주 보나?
전혀.
This, for example, is one of the most terrifying films ever, according to Kubrick.
I must say that to my own pleasure, he's the biggest fan. He was the biggest fan of Spoorloos. He saw it, I think, 10 times and called me when I was working in Los Angeles, telling me about, and we discussed the film shot by shot and everything. And I remember that he said, you know, it's the most terrifying film I've ever seen in my life.
There's one reason: a serial killer who murders without reasons. The detective and the audience remain without answers. The end and the solution do not coincide anymore. There's no blood, no spectacle. That's why it is mystical. It subtracts instead of adding. It leaves question unanswered. But with the ghost of some true answer lying somewhere to be grasped. The tension is never solved. All around the world burns, but we don't know why. We'll keep asking the question forever. That question and the silence that follows is what creates horror.